capital thing happened, uh, like Latin America is all about jokes and
Oh,
memes and
dude,
taking pictures.
Africa sent
Mm.
so many mean fucking jokes at us.
Insane, insane. So it's like, yeah, welcome to Latin America.
Yeah,
Hey, man, start start legalizing your papers. So if you decide to migrate, it's a little easier for you in another country.
it's happening,
Um,
man.
there's a joke like buy dollars, like change money, because obviously Latin American currencies are worthless. So you have to change money to dollars,
Yeah,
and so you can, when you migrate, when you move countries, you have some strong
yeah,
currency on you.
yeah.
But what currency are you gonna get in the in
Bullets,
America? I mean,
bullets. Everybody trades with bullets now. There's no other. There's no point.
yeah, like buy
Ex-
bitcoins or something. I mean, nothing,
so,
nothing.
so we have to go over some things here. To anybody watching this who hasn't, I've got a couple other videos with Mr. Angel here, but maybe you want to introduce yourself again just in case.
Sure. My name is Angel Oriana Angel.
The proper
Good to have
pronouncing. Yes.
a translatable uh, name.
Yeah.
I'm from Venezuela, but I've been living in Chile for over 4 years. I actually don't know anything, just speaking from the top of my head.
That's
And but
that's a lot.
living an immigrant life is quite learning
Yeah. No, certainly.
sometimes.
I learned so much just traveling in 3 months in South America that I feel prepared me for 2021. It's
Totally,
everybody else
totally.
is
It's like,
panicking. I'm like, just don't go to Napa. Don't go to Napa if you go to Rio. Just some
yep.
neighborhoods you don't visit.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be the equivalent of Colombian police. You have to figure that
And
out.
learn
You know.
exactly,
Yeah.
and
It's
learn some things other than English.
that's
Yes, English is a universal language, but boy, can you get in trouble without knowing anything else.
Jesus, can you fast? Very fast. Yeah, yeah. So
Oh my god.
I want to hit you up with a series of things that have happened in the last 6 months, and
Mm.
sort of bounce it off of your experience as an immigrant who seems to carry um, political upheaval with you wherever you decide to live.
Yeah, I think it's a curse. I think right now I think it's a curse. I
I
mean, I
so
was I was just thinking of visiting some friends and family there in the States, and look what happened. I mean, I'm not traveling anymore.
look, I North America was fine until I got back after meeting you. So I think I'm the
See,
carrier now. I'm bringing it to
see.
North America. Whatever you
So
have brought. Yeah.
coronavirus, Corona Angel is
That's
kind of the same thing. It's insane. It's insane.
yeah.
Oh well, if you can be Venezuelan, if you can migrate, you can survive 2020, and still look forward to 2021, you're done.
I had a great
I mean,
2020. You know, I
Iron Man, I don't know him.
so a few things that have happened. Let's see. I guess I have to go backwards a little bit, retroactively, and I'll try to remember things that come up as it goes. So very recently, uh, the Democrats are trying to have Trump impeached with a week left in office. They're saying that he's so dangerous he has to go because of what might happen again. And anybody who. So I saw footage of a teenage girl being arrested at an airport and crying because the police are dragging her away because she was at the Capitol Hill on the 6th.
Mm-hmm.
They're not
Mm-hmm.
distinguishing between people who got into the building and people who were across the city, just checking things
No,
out. If anybody.
I mean that is a crazy thing because they need help identifying people, but at the same time, those same people were live streaming the whole thing through Facebook,
Yeah,
through Instagram, through. So it's like just check your internet thing.
yeah,
FBI, come on, you're looking at me. I know
yeah,
you are.
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah, for sure.
stop playing around. We all know.
So
You know. So
some of them are hilarious. There's one guy, um, broke in and got into Pelosi's office, and then there's that famous picture of him sitting with his feet up on her table.
Yeah, totally.
He
And then
left.
that same guy with a letter on his hand, like,
That's the
please,
guy.
I am guilty. Like,
Yeah.
please come get me. Like,
So
come on, man.
he used an alias, and it lasted for almost 4 hours. It almost saved him. The internet found him, and he's getting messed up. And I gotta say, I don't completely disagree. You can't be breaking into federal buildings and peeing in your Congress people's toilets and the fucking chairs. Like, they peed on their furniture, for Christ's sake. That's, you know.
I mean, and not only like the disrespect, is because you can protest and do, I mean, you can do whatever you want, in a way.
Yep.
But why breaking in? I mean, why? Do you think that there's like a book that you could just rip off
So
a law or
it was
something?
broken in some
Magically?
places, and in other places the doors were opened. I found some footage of police going like this.
Yeah, common
Go.
people. Yes, let's break this whole thing up.
Yeah, so
Come on, man.
people are still getting to the bottom of it. My impression is that there were some people there who were trying to make it look. So there was a guy there at the he got into the building. He was one of the people who was like in Pelosi's office and fucking around and stuff. As it turns out, he organized a rally for Antifa earlier on in the summer. So the opposite side. There's Trump and then there's right. This guy organized a protest for Antifa. His name is John something. He's like a skinny, short black dude. And I can't remember his last name. John H. Anyway, he organized a rally in June or July of last year in Idaho, I think. And the rally ended up shooting a Trump supporter, like killed him on the street. And the guy wasn't charged. He was let out of jail completely. And he ended up in Capitol Hill across. So he changed states. That should be illegal right there. If you're part of a thing that organizes the murder of a stranger, you're first of all supposed to be put in jail. You shouldn't be let go. Second of all, you can't just change state lines. There's supposed to be some kind of parole there. You definitely can't go to a protest that the world is calling.
But did he go to, like, they have a trial or something like that?
Yeah, they let him go. So in Portland,
Okay.
they're letting everybody go.
Because I thought he wasn't. I mean, he didn't get caught or something like that.
No. He was charged. They've got like his mugshot and everything, you know.
Okay.
But the prosecution just didn't press any charges, and the court let him go. The prosecution has to say, like, to the court, we want to keep this guy in jail and charge him. If the prosecution just shrugged their shoulders, the court.
Oh yeah.
So he was in the Capitol Hill, photographed.
Nice.
After all of this, he changed state lines, right? He was charged with organizing a thing that led to somebody's murder. Goes into the Capitol Hill. He's the only one of all the Trump supporters who wasn't arrested. He's walking around the streets right now. So you've got rules for one set of people and rules for another set of people.
For another, yeah. I mean, that is the thing. It's like a lot of unfair things happening at the same time. Because how could cops let people into the Capitol?
Yeah.
Where their job is literally keeping people from the Capitol.
It's one of the most secure buildings in the world.
But at the same time, exactly. But at the same time, it's like, okay, do you really think all of them, like all of the people, were really pro-Trump, and no one was actually curious to see what, like,
so
what about?
I almost flew there myself, and it would have been just out of curiosity.
Exactly.
Had I had the opportunity, I would have gone to that building for sure. I would have done it with that intent. I wouldn't have broken anything, but I would have been,
for real.
Wow.
Exactly.
I would have had to.
But what if someone had footage of you?
Yep.
And you ended up in jail?
Oh, I would.
Because you broke in.
It'd be automatic at least 10 years before even charging me as a terrorist, which is the destiny. Like, that's what they're being charged with now. That 16-year-old girl from the airport is probably going to be charged with some kind of domestic terrorist charge. So that's part of what I'm trying to break down in the conversation here. Is also we have to talk about media, because I remember you mentioned one of the big things with Chavez and the new rule was that the total destruction of the media company that was there. Remember you said it was around New Year's or something. Maybe I'm off on that, but I remember you told me a story about how there was a media company that was critical of Chavez for quite some time and then dropped the hammer and it just disappeared. That kind of thing is happening. They want to strip the Americans of their guns so they can't defend themselves individually. They've been talking about that all year. they're changing the economy so it's completely centralized to the government. You can't work on your own without the government letting you know if you can go
But
to work or not.
but according to who in that case?
So this is for COVID, supposedly, but it's the
Okay.
same lockdown measures we're getting. So like, if you serve beer at 8 p.m., it's 1,000 times more dangerous than if you serve it at 7. Like I don't know how to make sense of that.
Yeah.
It
It's like the lockdown over here. It's like during the week you can do whatever the hell you want, but on the weekends the virus is more active,
oh, it's on the
so
weekends for you
you need to
guys.
exactly.
Yeah,
He still works from 9 to 5 from
yeah,
Monday to Friday. So on weekends he goes partying, and you can get infected.
that's lunacy.
So
Have you seen footage of Wuhan's New Year's?
no, I haven't.
Right downtown, out in the open.
Nice.
Yeah,
Awesome.
and Belarus did a New Year's outside with no masks on. Tanzania as well.
Damn.
There's
Well,
like Sweden. There's like 7 or 10
Tanzania
countries in the world that.
with the Tanzania thing is because I think they try to copy New Zealand thing.
Yeah,
New Zealand got it under control, so maybe because of that. But damn, Wuhan, I didn't know about that.
yeah, Wuhan's open, dude. They also did a study of 9.8 million people and found
Mm-hmm.
300 asymptomatic cases of 300 people with asymptomatic cases. So like, I had COVID, but I'm not sneezing, I'm not coughing. I didn't know I had it. So they kind of just let them run around because it's China, right? They're like, what happens if they walk around? And they kept track of over 2 weeks of everybody they interacted with and tested them for COVID. There was 0% of asymptomatic transmission over 2 weeks of
Nice.
9.8 million people. Florida's done one as well, and recently one in the UK did that and found that within homes, 0.7% of asymptomatic cases transmitted to another family member. So less than 1% of COVID cases can be transmitted with asymptomatic. The idea behind that is we don't really need lockdowns or social distancing or
But at the
masks.
same time, you can really hope people will behave because as I was like
That's
mentioning you
that's a good
before,
yeah
maybe in Canada they're really strict because with the whole how do you put this lockdown measures and fines
yeah.
and the whole thing. But over here, that it should be the same thing, and it is on paper, but no one actually applies it. Uh,
It
during
would
New
be
Year's, huh?
sorry. I'm assuming it would be a little bit more difficult to get the
Exactly.
Caballeros.
No, it is exactly the same thing. In New Year's, like after New Year's, the government released this announcement that they will be approving this vacation permit because we're in summer and people are on holidays and
Yeah,
people are on vacations
that's
and how can you deprive people from their human rights of vacationing
yeah,
in a beach
yeah.
in their second house flying on their private helicopter because obviously this was taken advantage by the rich people.
Did they?
So a lot of huh?
Sorry, I
Do
didn't
you hear
keep
me?
going. No, yeah. This is really strange. This is interesting.
Exactly, because obviously the rich people kept their jobs. They didn't get any help from the government because they didn't need help from the government.
Yeah,
They sustained their household, and they had a crisis because they had to clean and make food. Um,
they had to be normal.
because
Yeah,
exactly because their housekeepers couldn't move.
yeah, yeah,
But on the other side, people that yeah, medium class and lower class couldn't move and couldn't maintain their job and all that. I mean, obviously they're not going on vacation. They're finding new jobs and they're finding new things to do.
yeah.
So there's this story that happened. I don't know. It happened a long time ago, but like 20 years or before. But it came out some 2 or 3 days before that they started having parties, like rave parties,
Big parties.
inside
Yeah.
houses, inside apartments, inside beach houses as well. They were mainly three in a small town. Not actually a town; it's like a city, but it's like a shore city, so it doesn't have a lot of resources like pharmacies, hospitals, and all that. So a lot of people got infected by the thing. They started feeling like shit, and they went to buy medicines. The medicines ran out.
Yeah, yeah.
But they're not locals. They're from here, from Santiago. They're like rich people from Santiago. They
So they were
went
buying up all the medicine over there.
exactly,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
now there are a lot. I mean, there are more than 3,000 new cases since the end of the year, and it's only
Per what?
11.
3,000 more
Hmm?
cases per month, per week, per day, per what?
It's just yesterday there were 4,000 more. Right now it
Yeah, yeah,
came down a little, and
yeah,
it's now so it's per day.
yeah. We're about that as well. 3 or 4,000 is
So
the number
and
that.
and we were like that. We were like that in August or something like that, July, August, something
Yeah.
like that. And come on, we're stepping back because some people just couldn't hold themselves from partying and
So
vacationing.
so it's
Come on,
funny
man.
for us. It's the exact same thing except the locked because some people broke the measures and went traveling and vacationed and stuff. The politicians have to punish us with heavier lockdowns, right? Like you broke the rules. It was the politicians who were traveling. The
Oh,
politicians
nice.
kept getting caught. They were in Hawaii. They were all over the world. That one of them recorded a statement saying how important it was because most of us had to lock down over Christmas. That's a big deal. We
Mm-hmm.
didn't spend time with family. It was too dangerous. So we couldn't. We had to
Mm-hmm.
do Christmas like this, like talking to
Like
sisters and whatever.
exactly.
At the same time, one of our politicians in Alberta, one of our provinces, did a pre-recorded message talking about how important it was to stay at home and not meet your family. We know how difficult this is for you. And then
At the same
posted it
time,
while she was in Hawaii or something, but making
nice.
it look like she's in front of the office. Like it's really important, you know? And she got
Yeah, and
busted.
the beaches in the back part, some dolphins chirping around.
Well, no, because the video was recorded when she was in Canada, and she didn't
Ah, come
post it until
on.
3 days later, you know?
Ugh.
So in Canada, if um, your freedom is dependent on how much your politicians break their word. If they break their word a lot, the lockdown's going to last longer. It's gotten really dangerous since I got back. In fact,
Oh, yes, yes.
Trudeau was the first prime minister. Usually, their itinerary is set up every day. You can read what they're going to do. Anyone in the world can just Google it and see what he's going to do. He disappeared for 3 weeks over the Christmas holidays. The first time in
Oh, cool.
Canadian history that's ever happened. On
Awesome.
the first thing he did when he got back into town was talk about how horrible it is when people break laws, and that we're going to start jailing Canadians for breaking the lockdown measures. Like our
Oh, that's
politicians
cool.
have we're South American now.
Yeah, welcome to Latin America.
Thank
Now,
you.
let me
Yeah.
explain how inflation works.
Okay.
So, now, I mean, it is insane how people can be like this.
You want to hear inflation? Trudeau spent more money in 4 weeks 4 months, sorry, 4 months. Trudeau spent more
Okay,
money in 4 months than all the rest of the prime ministers combined throughout the entire Canadian history.
dang.
Yeah, we've borrowed about as much
Doing
money
what? I mean,
from.
but
He's
on
building
his
himself
personal,
statues, dude. Tell me this doesn't sound like socialism. He's putting
on
like
his
millions aside.
personal expenses, or did he masquerade them by social?
Yeah, masquerades them, but won't show the budget to anybody. Won't release it, and we've gotten to the point where we're talking about using pensions to cover costs and asking Canadians just to send them money. It's like a
Okay, cool.
telethon, you know, like when we've got to help.
Exactly. Let's help the rich people
That's
keep
right.
being rich.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's really wild.
Obviously. Yeah,
Meanwhile,
man.
I've got a contract with a buddy to do some artwork for him, and I've
Mm,
got the artwork mostly done. And I walked around. There's nowhere in town I can get it scanned, so I can't make it digital and send it to him. It's too dangerous. It's lava, you know.
wow.
Yeah, it's really wild.
Yeah, man.
So we're trying to figure out. Everybody's calling each other like, "Do you have a scanner? I'll trade you a scan." We're bartering Canadians. We're bartering to stay above water. You know.
Exactly. The thing is, like, well, I don't know. You also see a lot of things in the news, and you also see like some how do you call this? Like they tell you that you're the worst country in the world, and then the rest is better than you.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, I look at Canada and I say like, yeah, well, I want to move there. I want to be there.
Uh,
That's a quiet place.
you did, sir.
That right? I mean, all I'm asking is for peace and
Yeah.
money. Do you have some peace?
Yeah.
And it's insane. It is that too much to ask? Yeah, I don't.
Clean drinking water, clean washing water, cheap food, expect like affordable food.
Available,
Yeah.
available food,
Yeah.
things that you can buy, and that's it. Because it's not cheap food. Because at the same time, yesterday I ate a box of mac and cheese that was on sale, and I got a very back end from that.
Yeah.
So it's not exactly cheap food that you want to buy.
No, it's
It's
a good
just
point.
available thing that you can
Yeah.
get.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like peace. It's like okay, let me be. Which brings me to another thing. Let people be. I mean, yes, you can disagree with a lot of things. We can disagree with a lot of things. Probably we have a very different point of view on the world, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that I'm gonna just go to Canada just to punch you in the face.
Well, you can't now. You can't fly. I'm safe.
No, obviously,
I
obviously.
know.
But if I could send you like an email, a very aggressive email that would hurt your feelings, I shouldn't be able to do it.
No, I know. I know. I know. Yeah. Yeah.
Come on, it's like just let people be, and that's it. Which it is kind of like the other way around. Now people are going to start criticizing everything that you did, everything that your political view had to do with, because
Yeah.
maybe not your movements, but now that you support, I don't know, kind of like what Venezuela is happening. If I dare to say to my family that everyone should be how they feel, talking about, identity, gender, and
Yeah.
sexuality, that would be like,
Yeah. Yeah.
leftist. I mean, come on. I'm just thinking about people. I'm not talking about political view, but just because it is kind of related to one thing to another,
Yeah.
it's taboo right now.
Did you ever suspect, from the perspective of your time, your heritage as a Venezuelan, did you ever
Mm.
suspect that the country was trying to promote identity politics to split people up? Because it works really well. If you're a state, if you if your population is always fighting with each other over like left wing, right
Who's
wing
right?
stuff like that, the things happening in the states right now, everybody disagrees with. But for 2 months, the left hated police, and right now they love the police like crazy because the police in the narrative. There was a cop who died at the Capitol. So if you really hate Republicans, you want to defend the police as much as possible because one of them died. And the thing is, the media is saying the police died as a result of violence. He didn't hit anybody. He wasn't hit. He was on the sidelines watching it as a backup guy. His shift ended. He went to the police station. Something happened and he died from internal, like his organ failed or something, or a brain
Damn.
thing. He collapsed. All of the papers and news stations are saying that he was murdered and beaten to death.
Mm.
And his family's
Obviously.
like, that didn't happen. That never. Please don't say that. It's pretty wild.
But that is the thing. I mean, the only way to keep talking about something is to keep talking about something.
Yeah.
I mean, politics will always need people to keep talking about it,
And
so you
it
can still
leads to more politics.
continue. Exactly.
Yeah.
Because yes, I mean, yeah, we need to reform, we need to change the way that we live and the rules and everything. But once you understand that as long as you do good to other people and do good to yourself,
Yeah.
maybe rules don't matter that much.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. The
I maybe this is just crazy talking, which I am crazy talking, FBI agent. I am not actually going to start a revolution. Um,
I might.
exactly. Um, Uh, what this the medieval times, for example, kings would go to war just because they wanted more land.
Yeah.
But at the same time, people living on the other side of the land were just
Yeah.
easy, and they just minded their business. If they had food to grow, they were fine. If not, they were really miserable. But they wouldn't just go protest and like their neighbors to share their food. You know?
I think a lot of the Roman, the poor people in Rome and the poor people in Egypt were probably very similar. But one of their kings or whatever wanted the other one's land. And so they convinced their poor people that we have to take that other poor people's stuff. You know?
Exactly. Obviously, it's not. It's not like the whole thing is not that we should go to medieval times or anything,
Yeah.
but in some ways we should kind of put politics on a second on the background. Not ignore them completely,
It's
but not pay attention as much as
yeah.
possible, because that will it drives you crazy. I mean, it drives you crazy, and that is the only thing that it needs
Yeah.
to drive people crazy enough to I'm gonna make a difference. I'm gonna make a change, and I'm gonna continue fitting this
As
crazy thing that
as soon as someone thinks they're going to make a sacrifice of themselves on behalf of the movement, they start doing violence to strangers and thinking this is for
no,
the best.
and not only violence is like I'm gonna get more involved and
Yeah.
more involved and
Yeah,
more
yeah.
involved, you know, and then it's a snowball that maybe will get you to a good place, but maybe not. You know, it's like half and half thing, and maybe you will hurt people unintentionally, not violently or anything, but you know, like, kick them out of your life, or maybe you know, it will become an obsession. It will become like an addiction.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
I have some acquaintances that they started to make a movement in Venezuela. They're young. They're right now they should be I don't know 24, 22,
Oh wow.
because they thought that they could make a difference, and that's great in a way. As a thrive, is thrive a word? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
As like to thrive to a goal or something. But from that to become an obsession that will actually absolutely wreck your life, that's a whole different thing.
I've noticed on Twitter there's a comparison. So when I was in university, I went to a buddy of mine brought me to a clinic. It was an addiction clinic, and this guy, he was such a wicked scam artist. He found a way that this clinic would pay him $50 to drink beer for an afternoon, and he would
No
do
way.
tests on the computer, and they'd test to see how fast he could respond. And the more he drank, they wanted to see if it reduced it, right? And it was also about addiction, whether or not you were an alcoholic. And according to their standards, it was like if you drank more than three beers in a week, you know what I mean? And as a university student, we were all alcoholics according to their standard.
Obviously.
Anyway, the point is, at the clinic there was also a methadone clinic for crack addicts, and I came across some of those guys waiting for my buddy to finish his being paid to get drunk session, and those guys were possessed. They weren't really themselves anymore. There was something had someone described it as you're two wolves. There's like a sober me and a high me, and every time I take the drug, if it's beer or weed or whatever, meth, the stronger the drug, the stronger the wolf. Every time I feed the addiction, that one decides things for me. You know? It's like a possession. And I think of Gollum
Yeah,
from Lord of the Rings.
you start losing judgment. You start
Yeah.
losing like where is that moral
Yeah.
compass they once had that people have.
It,
I think that would happen with
with everything.
everything,
So
every single thing.
I think that political possession and drug possession is very similar as far as your judgment. I remember when I was smoking the most amount of weed in my 20s. Retroactively, I can see that all of my friends weren't really my friends at the time. They were just other addicts, and I could reliably get high around them. You know, it was
And
like
they got benefited by you and somehow.
we were all
And
yeah.
when you were done or when you finished being beneficial to them, they just discarded you.
That's right. Same thing with politics. It's the same thing. And also, it's not the exact same in this way, but I think if I don't eat for 3 days, hunger will possess me, and I can't think like James anymore. I'm thinking like something that has to eat, you know? So I could be sitting on a raft with my best friend, but if I haven't eaten for long enough, I'm like, those rations are mine. They're not ours. I'm not thinking
Exactly.
clearly, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, it's a delicate topic as well because maybe I don't know, some points can be made from a point of view that you would never have. For example, if I had a child and we were starving, I would do, or I think I would do anything to feed my child,
Yeah.
you know? And that anything covers a lot of things
So I don't know if
that
you've ever heard of.
right now, I don't think so,
Have you heard of Alex Jones? You must have heard of that guy. He's crazy.
probably.
He's a far gone conspiracy theorist. Like, he's really out there. He got deplatformed from all the things last year. He's really out there.
No, no, I didn't,
Oh,
I
you've got to
didn't hear
watch some of
from
his
him.
stuff, man. He's a lunatic. He's
Alex Jones.
he's surprisingly accurate about a lot of things, and you can't believe it because he's basically retarded. I know that's a strong word, but there's a whole episode where he was talking about if the governments
James, come
keep
on.
locking us. I'm telling you, if the governments keep locking us down, he's like, I will eat my neighbors. I'm telling you, I will eat my neighbors. And he does this whole
Okay,
rant about eating his neighbors, and
nice.
you could just get like a freezer of meat, dude, or something. You know, you could like pick some berries. There's options that aren't killing and eating your neighbors. He goes into detail. He's like, I'll hang them from their ankles, man.
Oh,
So his
so he's
whole
just looking for an excuse, actually.
it, he's looking for views. Really, he's trying to be the most sensationalist thing he can be. He's
Obviously.
he's a performer, but um, the idea,
Yeah, I mean, extreme things or extreme conditions can lead you to do crazy things.
yeah,
We
you have,
get, you know, and if that involves to, I don't know, sell yourself to the devil and to the person that is promising you, wonderful things
yeah,
for your support, then okay. Some cases are just unforgivable in a way, but understandable as well.
that's a good way of putting it. That is a really good way of putting it. Yeah,
You know, you can't or you shouldn't just sell your thoughts and sell your ideals and your personality to someone just because you need someone, but you need something. I'm sorry, but at the same time, there are some things that are just too necessary for you to leave.
yeah, yeah.
So be it. You had to do what you had to do. But there are some other things that are just like, come on, man, get a little perspective.
Yeah, don't eat your neighbors.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Maybe just don't kill anyone
I
to
can't.
feed yourself.
I can't believe Moses didn't include that. It was probably the 11th commandment, but he's like, no one's gonna eat their. Forget that. You know?
Yeah, come on.
No.
Who could possibly? Yeah. Fast forward some
Yeah.
thousands of years, and then you have it.
He was
A
running out of
person
time
on a video
chiseling.
just,
He's like, nah, it's okay. We don't have to do
yeah,
this.
I've eaten a lot of sandwich lately. What should I eat? I'm getting bored of this diet. I'm gonna start. Yeah, I'm gonna see next door to see what I can find.
Yeah.
No, it's insane. I
So,
mean,
did you guys? Um, in Venezuela, there was a bunch of identity politics dropped at around the same
mhm.
time that there was the political shift, sort of split the community.
even before,
Yeah.
that is something that I was actually thinking the other time. I don't know about Canada. I don't think so because I don't know how the primal government works. But in North America, from the states up, just two of you, you haven't experienced dictatorship, right?
No, no, very soft, like very, very gentle. So in Canada,
Mm-hmm.
it's not a dictatorship. We're basically still the Queen's property. We don't have a government.
Exactly.
Government. We're like a
Exactly.
quasi-sovereign. But the Queen's. If I set a fire in the forest, it's the Queen who charges me. And
Okay.
it's in a Canadian court with my taxes, but it's on her terms.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
it's not a dictatorship, but we're not free either.
Exactly. So and that is the thing. That is literally the most radical political view that someone or something can get, a dictatorship either from
Yeah,
left or from
yeah,
right. That is literally the upper, the extreme, right? The fact that all of Latin America, well, I think all of it, maybe, yeah, I think all of Latin America from Mexico down, uh, has had at least one dictatorship on their history,
yeah.
if I'm not mistaken. Well, actually, Paraguay doesn't exist, so no, I'm just joking. So that would say a lot of the political view or of the I don't know, the way the politics is treated in Latin America. There is an identity that it can be so drastically shifted that,
Like,
if you start learning about the history of each country, you would see that there is a pattern of every single like leaders of that.
does it start with identity politics? Sort of like, does it?
With what?
Is that how we got here? Does it start with like the populace identifying themselves strongly according to like, I'm a pro Trump or pro like, I'm not James,
Maybe,
I'm pro Castro or something.
I don't know. I don't know if it's populist, but I think it's just someone that is on the other side of the spectrum.
Yeah,
Either someone really poor
yeah, yeah,
or someone really rich. They just want to change things their own way.
yeah.
And
That's a dictatorship. You think, as if one
exactly,
minority is determining for the majority.
that's how you like build up to be a dictator in
Yeah,
that case.
it doesn't happen overnight. You have to like silence your opponents, and you have to take out their media, and you have to.
And you have to start. I mean, you have to grow up thinking something. Just it's not something that on a Monday morning at 8 a.m. you start waking up. You're not. You know what? I'm gonna break this whole thing. There has to be a momentum. There has to be something very, very important on every single character.
Yeah.
From Pinochet to Chavez to Castro to uh, Fujimori was the one in Peru. I think so.
Peru, really?
So yeah, Peru had a Japanese dictatorship.
Really? They were so. Of all the places I visited, it was the most composed. It was like politically, I mean, you
Well,
know?
he actually did a lot of good things for Peru,
Yeah, no kidding.
but but yeah, he was a
Fuck.
bitch and a half.
So interesting.
In Argentina as well. In Argentina, they had
Yeah.
some very very strong dictatorships. In Brazil, they had, oof, a lot. In Venezuela, we had like three.
Yeah, but you guys
Yeah,
do.
no, no, no.
Yeah.
Obviously, well, actually, Simon Bolivar, like the highest expression of revolution for Latin America. You know the character, right?
No, what is it?
That's our Napoleon,
What's his name?
Simon Bolivar.
Oh, horse. Yes, on the horse. Yeah, I
Exactly.
confused him with
That
Don Quixote a bunch at first.
no.
He has the
Um,
mustache and the beard.
our the whole thing. He was a dictator one time
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
in one of his periods of the big Colombia and all that. He actually like stated himself as, you know what, if things are not going my way, then it's going nowhere at all.
Yeah.
So it's like there has to be something. It's not overnight, as you said. There has to be this very strong identity or very strong, maybe idealism,
Like
maybe
an idea momentum sort of thing. Like the train
exactly,
starts and then it gets really, and then you don't have to put gas anymore. It's just doing it of its own speed. It's just, yeah, yeah,
exactly. And obviously there are a lot of people like that. There are a lot of people that are they have this drive, they have this urge of being political,
yeah,
but not everyone has the same environment to develop that skill.
Yeah, yeah,
So when you say yes, in all Latin America, not I, I I could venture to say in all Latin America there is this strong identity or pressure to be political identified.
really, huh?
Yes,
Yeah,
because I don't know, there's something about pride, there's something about I'm righting the wrong, there's something about so many things that you
yeah,
can discover, like psychologically speaking, behind the necessity to be politically identified.
like active. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Exactly. Or unactive or
yeah.
deactivated.
You
Because
know,
maybe you can go the other way around. Maybe you don't want to do anything with politics. That is also movement. That is also, you know what? I don't want to know anything about
yeah,
it.
yeah,
But that comes because your family or because someone taught you that that is the most important thing.
for sure.
And you just decided, you know what?
Like,
Goodbye.
some kids grow up in a smoking household and decide, I will never smoke a cigarette or date a person who smokes or work in an environment that smokes. Yeah,
Exactly.
I had to quit one of my last jobs because they smoked so heavily. This is totally out of context, but we would drive to work and they thought it was cold, so they'd roll the windows down, and there'd be two of them, and I would sit in the, we call it bitch, so the left and the right, and then the bitch is in between. So you're sitting like this, and they're each of them smoking a cigarette. In a 30-minute drive, they might have smoked four each, windows up. Sorry, all the way up. So I was throwing up by the
Oh,
time we got out of there, man. I had no oxygen.
ah, I imagine you're still washing the clothes that you wore that day
Oh, I
to get rid of the
set
smell.
fire to them right away. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I used to be a heavy smoker, but
Oh,
a little bit of time
for
without it.
real?
I was a pack a day guy. Yeah, yeah, it was disgusting.
Oh,
Yeah, and now I can't be
you can't
around it.
stand it. Well, I mean, there's your momentum. You
Yep,
had a revelation that you just couldn't think of another cigarette in your life. Now you can stand it.
I can't say I'm I'm apolitical smoker. I won't have anything to do with it. Yeah, yeah.
Totally, totally. So, like that, I don't know about the rest of the world, but I would say, like, learning about Latin American history, you would say that people are taught to be political.
Yeah,
There has to be this strong. It's like football. It's like soccer. Come on, you're taught that you have to follow a team or you have to like it.
I totally agree. So
It's just like that. It's like another type of addiction, which is totally
it's a weird loyalty thing that guys in particular seem to fall for. We need some kind of
and girls.
tribal thing. Yeah,
And girls, I have a friend that I mean, the town where I grew up in, um, has this team that's well known to suck. It's one of the worst uh, teams in the national league. And her family is from Caracas, from the capital,
yeah,
and they have another team, and she is obsessed with that
yeah,
team, obsessed,
yeah, yeah.
and she doesn't play sports at all,
That's funny.
any sport.
Yeah,
But
something happened.
every game that they have together, she's always grumpy. She's always like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, dude, chill. They don't know you. They're,
It's such a good
I
metaphor.
don't know.
I've got a friend, a buddy of mine. I couldn't help myself. We'd be watching the playoffs in hockey. It's a big, big thing for him, right? And you start talking shit about one of the players, and he'd get, "You gotta support the team." He's like angry at me personally because I'm ruining their, as though the guy on the ice has this sense while he's playing, like, "Oh, some guy named James just made fun of my pants," like I can't play now. He has no idea.
The guy just turns is like, fucking James, stop
Yeah,
talking shit about me.
yeah. He
Like,
he skates over to the announcer's desk, and the announcer's like, "Would James Lavani please stop watching the game?" Yeah, I can't. But the guy I'm
if you
watching
don't
it with,
support I mean, come on.
he sees his hockey team the way some people see Trump or never Trump. Like the people who no matter what Trump does, it's bad. To me, are as. Have you heard of Q? There's a
Yeah.
whole group called Q. Oh, dude, they actually think Trump is Jesus. Like, actually, he's come back to save us. He is a mortal expression of God, right? Trump.
Mm-hmm.
He spends
Mm-hmm.
his time saving sex slave children from tunnels underground. He's not actually the president. His job is to
Nice.
save the children from.
Okay, okay. I see your Jesus Trump.
Yeah.
I see your Donald Christ, and I raise you.
I haven't heard that yet. That's amazing. That's amazing.
I see, and I raise you to.
Yeah.
There is this pagan belief that came from the indigenous and the slaves in Venezuela, that they pray to, like, how do you call this, like chalk figures, not chalk per se, but it's like this sculptures in a
Okay.
way.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you can see any type of, well, I'm gonna send you the name because it's a very Spanish name. There's this character that he's a doctor, and he was supposed to be very noble, and he actually died very unjustly, blah 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 blah, and he is worshipped. He's worshipped strongly.
Okay.
People have like little stamps of him on
Like,
their like
as a really
persons
good
or something.
guy, or as something more than.
As a really good guy,
Okay. Yeah,
guy,
yeah.
and I think he got like some sort of improvement by the Catholic Church or something like that. I don't know
Okay.
exactly what, but he got this. Okay, that's
Oh, yeah.
okay. The little tourist to start drinking, right? No,
Oh, it's just water.
just vodka. Okay, cool.
By the 10 liters. Yeah,
To
it's
get
2021 is
to
going to
the
be a
heat.
good year.
Okay, so like that, this whole figure of being good. There's the belief that Chavez is a very good spirit that after death
No.
is looking after us.
No.
Yes, yes. The poor guy, even after death, he's not gone.
It
He
hurts.
will never.
He will
I mean,
never
like
go. He will
he
never get rid of Chavez.
will never get rid of him. I mean, do you imagine? Oh my god! And people light candles to him as if it were, some church. And they, oh my god, no, 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 like that. I mean,
Okay,
and
you might have. That might beat Donald Christ. That might.
insane. I mean, it's like how? Because okay, maybe you can think that whatever player you like, it is the savior of a team. Okay,
Yeah.
but to make a religion out of it,
Yeah.
or to make it like, nah, come on.
What was the name of that the football player who just died in Argentina? The big guy, Madero?
Oh well, Maradona,
Maradona, yes.
Maradona.
So he should be worshipped as an athlete, but he's not taking football players to heaven, right? Like, he's a
No,
spectacular.
I mean, that is the thing. Yes, maybe he was good. Yes, maybe he was talented. Yes, he scored one of the first Latin American goals to England.
Yeah.
And he was famously known, okay, that was a huge amount of years back in the day.
Yeah.
He actually was a cocaine man who stole money from governments and who did very, very, very horrible things.
Oh, shit.
That is the worst thing. Well, not the worst thing, but that's one of the most infamous characters that has ever left Argentina.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Obviously, a lot of people still see him, or yeah, kind of like that. Well, from his death, yes, the guy that was making the autopsy and the guy that was preparing him for the whole service,
Yeah.
there to take a picture with the dead body. Weird,
A
but
little. Yeah.
it's a famous person. I
Yeah.
mean, if you saw,
Hey, if I
people.
if I could wind up at
People
Christopher
still,
Hitchens, yeah, I'm a big Christopher Hitchens fan. If I could have gone to his funeral, his family would have thought it was creepy and weird because I've never met any of them. But it would have meant a lot to me. I can understand. I can. It'd be weird, but I
exactly.
can. Yeah,
It's like exactly. It's like weird, but not too weird.
yeah, yeah.
The weird thing is that somehow he leaked or he posted the things like, okay, yeah, here, one last goodbye, blah 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 blah. People started chasing the guy down and beat the crap out of him. The guy ended up in ICU
Wow.
because people thought as an offensive thing to take a picture of him,
Wow.
and they tracked him down. You know what is track someone down because of a picture of a famous person that it was actually infamous?
Yeah.
It's too much.
It's.
It is too
I think
much.
it's what Twitter's for now. It's basically all it's for now.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. That I already heard. I mean, I knew that story from Twitter.
Yeah.
So, and all that. I mean, I actually learned. I knew that that guy was very bad, like Maradona, because he supported Castro. He drew some lines with Chavez. He drew some lines with a lot of bad people
Yeah.
around the world. But actually, from Twitter, I heard that he was in a trial because he rented some 14 and 15-year-old girl for a party that he had. He was trial. It's not that there was a rumor that he did.
No.
No, no, no.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
charged
Yeah.
with the whole thing
What a piece of
for
shit.
a party that he had.
What a piece of shit.
You know, and it's for people to start, oh my God, no, he died. Oh my God. It's like,
Well, that happens a lot, man. The
it is,
pictures I've seen in the last year of fucking Willie
oh my God.
Clinton and the things he's gotten up to in his life. Bill Clinton has a lot of special
Yeah.
friends, you know?
I'm not saying that he's a good guy, people, or he's a bad guy and people should kill him. But come on, stop praising people.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's what I hate about the whole like spam thing. If you ask me who's my favorite singer, who's my favorite musician, who's my favorite player, I don't have any.
Yeah.
Because it's just like they're people that they don't even care that I exist. They don't even know.
I totally agree. Yeah, I totally
You
agree.
know, it's like keep it down. I really like the product.
Yeah.
Yes, maybe I can listen and I can consume the content that they would like. But at the same time, I'm not gonna be after he fought it. Oh my God, he fought it! What a beautiful fart!
Fucking
It
contain
must
that. I'm gonna hold it forever.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
It must smell like roses. It's like, come on, man. People shit just as we all do.
yeah. Yeah. I think the best way to appreciate somebody is to really enjoy them, but be able to make fun of them as well, you know?
Totally,
Yeah, yeah.
totally. I mean, obviously, until a certain point, there are certain things that
Yeah, of course.
come on,
Yeah, it's degrees.
come on. But yeah, I mean, enjoy them and also be aware of their flaws.
That's what I meant. That was a better
I
way of putting it.
mean,
Yeah, yeah.
yes, you can make fun of them, but also be aware is like, hey, he's a human being. He can make mistakes. He can end up in jail. He can take very bad steps.
Yeah. That's a good way. That's part of the problem, I think, with identity politics is that currently people are looking at Trudeau as either the worst or the best ever. Actually, I think he really is the worst. I understand that this is a hilarious segue because I just set the whole thing up to say, you know what I mean? This guy has openly said great things about Castro. His dad was a huge Castro supporter. You know what I mean? Like,
Cool.
there's just an ugly history. So maybe that's not a good example. The,
No, I mean the same thing with Chavez. I mean, Chavez
That's-
got to jail because he started a coup,
yeah,
but at the same time, when he left jail, he was praised
yeah,
as
yeah, yeah.
savior.
He did a lot of damage before he left, eh? Like, he did some
So,
harm.
but at the same time, people oversee that.
Yeah,
There's still like 2021. There's still people that they say like, no, I'm still. You know the worst. I just remember. You know the worst thing or the most. I don't know if it's the worst or the funniest. I'm not pretty sure.
could be both.
Maduro
Yeah,
Maduro,
Yeah.
said he was worried about American democracy.
What worried
He
him?
he he said that he was, oh my gosh, like people are attacking the Capitol. Oh my God, that's so like that is a very strong
Oh,
strike.
I misunderstood completely. I thought you meant he was worried as a threat. No, he was saying that he's worried for them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure it was really sincere.
It's
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
Yeah, yeah,
At
yeah.
this time, at this point, I don't know what's a joke. I don't know what. Do you know the Onion?
Of
You know
course.
the
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Yeah.
there's a Venezuelan version of the Onion, and they actually posted that news
Without a caption.
straightforward
Yeah.
without. I mean, they started the whole thing is like we wish this was unreal, but it's not. For the first time in 20 years,
That's amazing.
we're posting a real time headline. I mean, it's like how bizarre can a country be?
The Onion's gonna have to just get rid of all of its writers and just start copy pasting in the same way. Yeah, yeah,
Totally,
yeah.
totally. I mean, there gets a point that is like, well, maybe a guy eating their neighbors is not as worse as we thought.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's crazy.
No, no, no. It's insane. Living. I do enjoy it. Though. I do enjoy it being
A little
or
nuts? Yeah.
living, yeah, living a very very nutty life because if you don't enjoy it, then you just might be a politician.
That's that's nothing worse. Don't ever be that.
Exactly. You know, I mean, do
One
you
of my
imagine?
one of my
Do you
favorite
imagine being
photographs
mhm.
was of 3 days ago, maybe four. There's a Polish woman who is like a four-time Olympic athlete. She just turned 100,
No, I heard that.
and she went through the Nazi fucking camps and everything. And the photograph is of her laughing on her 100th birthday, and you can just see she's got the expression of a 7-year-old girl. You know what I mean? Don't This woman's seen more crazy than like anybody. You know what I mean? But she can still keep that spirit, the innocence.
Yeah,
And
she could literally be, I don't know, killing people on spree because she just felt like it. You know, I mean,
yeah,
and she would be justified in a way. It wouldn't be just, it wouldn't be fair, but it would be justified.
if she were, did I hear that? If she were killing people?
I mean, if you were traumatized, that is the thing. I
Oh, I
mean,
see what you're saying now. Yeah, okay.
if you were traumatized, it's like, okay, understandable. I'm not gonna celebrate it. I'm not gonna support it, but they
Yeah, you can
had it
see where they're
coming.
coming from. Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah,
So, but you just choose to lose your mind in a very personal way
yeah, yeah, yeah.
without harming people. So, no, it's a whole superhero. The whole superhero thing to go through so many things. You still be able to celebrate 100 years. That's a lot.
That's crazy. Yeah, yeah. I know people in their 70s who are like, oh, I hope I don't make it to 80. You know, like.
I saw a video of a grandma. She was very, very, very old. She was turning 90 something, 95, 94, something like that. And it's like, well, make a wish, grandma. Everyone's like recording, yeah, grandma, make a wish. She literally said, I wish this is my last. And it's like,
Yeah.
what?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What?
yeah.
I mean, can you imagine? No, no, no. I just,
Crazy, man.
oh well, life it is what it is, right?
Yeah, I gotta ask a few questions.
Tell me.
So, I just wanted a timeline. I'm gonna try to do this again. I didn't do it very well earlier on. The timeline is sort of roughly some citizens can do things without being arrested where other citizens can't do anything close to that, and they face serious charges. The state is getting involved with people's ability to arm themselves. It's becoming a really big thing. You can't do that. They've released prisoners out of prison for some things. A few cities have been under siege completely. So, like, there was a huge, in New York City, there was like I don't know how you'd put it, a giant march of Antifa just marching through the streets saying, like, this is our town now. This town belongs to us. Like, just screaming. New York has lost more citizens than, like, any other state or city this year. It's crazy. New York is not the same city anymore. California is completely different now. In 1 year, the economy changed completely. The patterns of where people live changed completely. Some citizens are encouraged to express themselves. Other citizens are removed from social media completely. Like, one person had a campaign that just called Walk Away on Facebook, and the whole group was just people who were Democrats and had grown tired. It's not working for us. We want to be represented, but it's not doing it. It's just a group. They're not Republicans, but they're not Democrats. They're like, we want a better option. They're banned. They're like, they can't be on Facebook. Not just the group was closed, but anybody who followed the group, Facebook took them off of Facebook. You can't sell your business if you don't vote right. You know what I mean? Because part of it is on Shopify, which is... In one day, Shopify and Twitter and, like, there was 12 different media companies that just shut Trump down completely. And a lot of them also did it to his supporters as well. Is this sort of looking a little bit to you? You mentioned that you think it's going to be inverted. We talked on the phone a bit that this looks like it's following the pattern of a socialist shift, but you said you thought it might end up inverting, like it might stop Trump from doing worse?
The thing is that it is the same, but not the same at the same time.
Yeah.
Because he's the person that is all full of himself, doesn't see past a lot of people, and maybe to get what he wants, he will go over some people. And that is exactly the same thing that I know since I grew up.
So Pelosi as well.
But at the
thing
same
is,
time,
both sides are like that.
Exactly.
The
But at the
Democrats
same
act the
time,
same. Yeah.
But at the same time, Trump has access to a lot of very powerful and very dangerous things. A lot of people are asking, because I heard and I read, but there are like dictators in the Middle East and in Africa that they just go on a spree and they just tweet about killing people and animals and
China
stuff.
celebrated their Uyghur shit. The day that Trump was banned, the day after, China released a post saying the Uyghurs aren't having kids anymore.
Nice.
That's sick. They were like, guess who's getting away with genocide? They're like, posted it. They posted it.
Where did they post that?
On Twitter.
Nice.
It's nice, eh?
I mean, and that is the thing. Obviously, yes, there are a lot of bad things happening in a lot of different parts.
Yeah.
But these ones getting so much attention that you can't measure the consequences that these may have.
That's a good way of putting it. We're too close, you think, right now. There's too much attention. There's too many cameras.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And too many things that could go wrong, and one way to control them is like you recently found a virus on your computer.
Yeah.
And it's opening every single program.
Just turn it off.
And it's not doing anything.
Yeah.
Yet, but you don't know what we'll do. So, you know what? Unplug it.
Yeah.
Unplug it, turn it off, and let's start from scratch.
Yeah.
You know? So, why is it going like on the other way? Because maybe it's not that it's going to be a happy ending from now on, but people may see things differently. May see that your actions can have consequences, and things that you thought that you can get away with may not be that way. Even though
we're going the opposite.
Even though that there are people doing that.
Yeah.
But maybe, just maybe, people will think twice before saying or doing anything.
I hear you.
You know? because not only that the president is being affected by social media, is that maybe my neighbor, maybe the person that I know,
Correct.
maybe I don't know, this video of a girl being dragged at the airport because she was
Yeah.
related to people. They're going to jail. They're facing 10 plus years in
Yeah.
prison. So maybe it's not such a negative thing. Everything that is happening, everything that is revolting around.
So
Yes, it could be more.
it will be. One, I am more sure
No,
that
no,
it will
no,
be
but
more.
it could be, it could be better or it could be done differently.
So in one day on Capitol
Mm-hmm.
Hill, there were, I don't know how many injuries. There were between 2 and 5 deaths. 3 of them haven't been accounted for. There's no names. There's no age. One woman was shot by the police, and another cop died, unaffiliated. And it's been called a terrorist movement. And anybody who showed up is a terrorist. For 6 months, oh, I don't know how much damage was done. I think $20,000 worth of damage, maybe 50, a bunch, but not. There was broken windows and whoever peed on the couch and stuff like that. You have to steam it and stuff. There was harm. There was damage for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, all the people involved are called terrorists. No, the language, not being called terrorists, but the language is this is terrorist attacks and shit like that. Um, that happened in the course of one day. In 6 months, another group of people laid siege to a Portland courthouse and threw fire. They threw mortars at it. They launched from a machine mortars at a courthouse from across the street. There's
Okay.
700 cops were injured on purpose of people like driving at them and hitting them like 60 miles an hour. You can see the cop in the air. I got
Okay.
footage of cops being hit in the back of the head with bricks and attacked. There's 30 police have been murdered on purpose over the last year, over 6 months in the protests and riots. Murdered. Like, went up to a cop. One of them, they were on break in their car, and a guy went up and shot them through the window. The guy got shot in the throat. It was a big deal. The woman was shot in the stomach or something. She dragged him out and called for help. And there's a photograph of her pushing his throat down while she's injured, and her face. Oh, she got shot in the cheek. So her face is bleeding out. Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats encouraged this. They said that we have to have more of this to bring justice to the Americans. There's the Portland, when I was in Portland, there was actually a revolving door at the police station so that you could only charge somebody for 24 hours unless they tried to kill a police officer. Anything else was 24 hours. There was no legal consequence whatsoever. They threw Molotovs at police officers. Like, I've got footage of them throwing fire at them. I think $2 billion worth of damage was done across the summer. Not 50,000, $2 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Entire people were impoverished. Like, I used to have a family, not me personally, but I would have a family and a business that I ran, and the business supported my family, and I could feed them and shelter them. And then one day, somebody decides that I'm not properly supportive enough of an idea, and they've set fire to it. They set fire to the entire block. And then the state tells me that I owe them money back to fix the property so it can be built on top of again.
Nice.
Like, that's great. The same state that's allowing them to do that in the first place. So my question is,
Asking you for.
if it's endorsed by one side of the political spectrum to do $2 billion worth of damage and murder 20 cops in the street, injure 700 more, but that's freedom. If terrorism is killing one cop, and that's bad, like, there's no, like, it doesn't matter, but 30 cops to one, 3 billion to like 100 grand, one day compared to 3 months, one building taking a bit of damage compared to like there's entire police stations burned to the ground, entire police stations. In Minneapolis, my friends there, the crime rate has gone up by 83%. It's crazy. Everywhere the Democrats have gone, they have turned the place into a hellhole that you can't live. I've got friends in Minneapolis. She's trying to convince her mom to move. She's like, it's going to get much worse. We can't live here. Like, we have to move somewhere else. And her mom's like, oh, it'll be fine. Once the Democrats get in, it'll be safer. She's like, the Democrats have been here for 20 years. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole
it's
extremism.
it's really dangerous. And some
It
of
is.
the issue is that the criticisms made of Trump are from the sources, and some of them are completely accurate. When he went to Puerto Rico and threw paper towel at them after the flood, that was the PR was criminal. Like that wasn't just a slap in the face. That was horrible. That's a bad man at work right there. You know, his Twitter
Yeah,
account
I
is
mean,
horrible.
as, as everything.
Did you know
The
that
thing is like, mhm.
he put more money towards black communities and colleges than any president before him? Like he's routinely referred to as the most racist president ever, but there's other things you could hit him for, but that one's not fair. You know, that one's invented.
The thing is like, that is like one of the worst things, that he was public even before being president.
Yeah.
So
That's like a
there's
Reagan
a
thing.
whole exactly.
Yeah.
There's maybe he's not one of the most presidents. He's
Not even close.
not one of the most racist presidents,
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah.
but he's one of the most racist people to be president. You know?
No. Like, no.
Why?
No. Up until 2016, it never came up once. And as soon as he started talking about China, he was immediately racist. China, by the way, gives $10 million a year to the New York Times, who prints articles about how racist Trump is. They give $10 million a year to the Washington Times and the Washington Post, which is where all of the fucking politicians work. They have Hunter Biden's son has been busted. They've given him like $1 billion. They gave him $1 billion to smuggle into Biden's campaign. Like there's so many points where the articles that are calling Trump racist are coming from sources that Trump has been criticizing in the first place. Like I could criticize so many things about that man. He should not have been president in the first place, I don't think. But this is a fiction that his opponents made up so that people would see him in a light that made it easier to address other things too. He's like a coat hanger of bad things, and they added an extra hanger. They didn't need to. He has so many other hangers, you know? Anyway, I can't say objectively, but I don't think it's a fair criticism.
In that case, yeah, maybe the whole thing of politics of being extreme at the point that you have to exaggerate everything.
Yeah.
To make it notorious, you have to endorse dirty things. So you have news, you have support.
So one of the things I could hit him with really hard is that he never turned down a voting base. When the white supremacists of the states, and there are some, there's not a lot. I mean, if you read the news, it sounds like there's a chapter in every city. There's probably fewer than 50,000 full-blown white supremacists, you know, but it sounds like there's millions. So when they started hearing Trump talk, they're like, this is our guy. And some other medias were like, yo, are you going to say something about this? And he's like, you know, this would have been a great time to say no and tell those guys to fuck off. But anybody who votes for him, he's just kind of like,
well, yeah.
You know, you can hit him with that anytime. That's for sure. If you want to have a really good party, you want to invite everybody you know who goes to the party and gets along, right? But there's going to be some people there who just want to sell drugs to underage kids and stuff, you know? And maybe he's going to come and get you a bottle of beer, and that'll help your party look cooler. But the benefit of the bottle of beer is nowhere near the cost of this fucker selling drugs to kids. Like, have the sense to tell that piece of shit to fuck off. That's one of the things that he fucked up on. There's so many things.
Yeah, but at the same time, it is, or maybe that's the way that the same thing, like media portrays him, and the whole celebrity apprentice path that he has.
Yeah.
That he's this, you know, a character because he doesn't have another word.
No, he's definitely a character. Yeah. No, there's no question.
So it's is this character. He doesn't care about anything else but himself. He doesn't see anything beyond that. I'm not saying that he is because I don't know him,
Yeah.
but that is just the way that he's portrayed. That you just connect up, like someone like that seems racist, so probably is.
Does Chile have their own CNN network?
Yes,
Yeah. Just.
what can you say? And not only that. I mean, if you learn a language and if you learn other things, you start broadening your vision
Oh yeah.
to the world.
Yeah.
You know, so you start getting into culture. You start getting into a little history of each country. I'm not saying that I know a little bit about everything, but America was a huge part, like North America was a huge part of me growing up, culturally speaking.
Really? In what way? Like what?
And I was always interested in learning English, and I was also like always watching some foreigner TV.
Yeah, yeah. What? Did you
And
have cartoons
I was,
growing up?
yeah, yeah, totally,
What's an American
totally.
cartoon you like growing up? I've got to know.
Mm, damn.
I was on like.
By growing up, I really like Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Really, really
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Power
yeah.
Rangers. It was insane.
I went nuts for the
Uh,
X-Men animated series.
oh my god, that was so cool.
Yeah, if one of my
Saw it.
parents had a chore overlapping with that, someone died. Like, there's no way I have to watch this show uninterrupted. No, it was serious. It
Exactly,
was a religious
exactly.
experience for me.
Something
Yeah.
like something like that. And growing up, like being a teenager and all that, it was. I mean, I was a, I was a teenager in 2004. Yeah, 2004,
Yeah.
and and a little before and a little after, and those like reality and stuff. That is like the idea that one can have about American culture. Later on, you realize that not everything is as portrayed on TV because obviously life is not just a screen.
Not even close. Yeah.
But like a 14-year-old kid cannot see through a screen
Yeah.
and think, well, maybe that is a little nihilistic. Nah,
Yeah, yeah,
come on.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And and like that, you get some impressions as well, and then you start seeing some other things familiar in a different context, like yes, like politics or maybe uh the how do you call it, like characters in your job as well. That they look like the things that you saw in on TV. So they say, well, yeah, this is true, you know.
Yeah.
And the thing that afterwards you get this impression is like, okay, Donald Trump is president. It's like, no way.
Yeah.
That guy, the guy from
Yeah.
like that guy, that guy, like that,
Yeah.
And you start like reading this whole media. Obviously, it is segregated as well. I mean, you don't see the whole picture. You don't live there, so you don't know actually the whole movement.
Even if you live there, you still can't see it fully. You know? Yeah.
Even more,
Yeah.
even more.
It might even
Now
be more.
we're living in a
Yeah.
in information era where information is so much that you can just digest the whole thing.
Yeah.
So you still have to segment and you still have to choose which side are you going to read on.
Yeah. I
So,
I like breaking things down to the point that there's so many sides, the sides are irrelevant. So it's not
but
like
at the but
Trump
at
or
the same
Pelosi.
time, but at the same time, you cannot just see all the parts or the sides.
No, yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, there may be some important things that just fall out of your reach because I don't know,
You'll never
maybe you
see
didn't
everything.
think
Yeah,
of it
you can't.
or something like that, and like that, there are news and there are parts of the story that you just maybe you can just choose to ignore, or maybe you just don't have the reach to it. For example, all that footage that you're telling me about people killing cops, that's wrong. That is insanely wrong.
Oh, it's crazy violent, man. It's
Exactly.
really
So,
upsetting.
and it's like, it makes you think, like, then what is my opinion? It makes you think, like, what is my foundation
Yeah.
on having an opinion whatsoever? Because I didn't know that. And that is
So
a huge point.
this is what I'm saying though is if you don't have a whole lot of data in front of you to choose from and to sift from, if it's just like 2 or 3 points and not 50 or more,
The whole thing.
it's a lot easier if you only have 2 or 3 points of data to be like, well, that's the good guy because there's two things happening. But if you get to 50, you start seeing like, okay, Trump's a disaster. The
But
alternative
the
is a
other side is also
disaster.
a
It's
disaster.
a complete disaster. And so I'm not really loyal to Trump anymore. I'm not loyal to the Democrats. I'm looking for things that I think make most sense, and I can like take 3 from Trump and 2 from this fucker and 4 over here from the Democrat, whatever it is. My idea here, I think, is I see people being more loyal to other people and groups, and my thought is you should be loyal to principle. If you're loyal to a group, then as soon as that group goes off and does something horrible, you're
That is
now
the
trying
thing.
to make sense of
That
it. You know?
that is exactly the thing. I mean, if we were, if we would all be critical to the point to judge even oneself,
Yeah, yeah.
I think everything could be better.
That's the defense, I think, against indoctrination.
But exactly.
Yeah,
But at the same time, it is not nature to not follow. You know,
yeah,
the same thing as we said about the political growing up, like with political ideas and all that. You were taught that. No one put you in front of a TV and you started, maybe that guy is right
yeah, yeah, yeah,
by
yeah,
being 6 years old. No.
yeah, yeah,
You were taught, like, this is right, this is wrong, this is good, this is bad, this is black, this is white, this is
yeah.
in and
Everything's
out, up and down.
black and white. If
Everything is
mom's
taught.
right, dad's right.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But maybe your mom and dad are just two fuckers that don't know anything about life and they start, eating neighbors.
that's right. That's
Whatever.
that's part of adulthood. That's when
So
you.
it's like maybe you, in the future, you realize it's like, hey, maybe they are crazy.
Yeah,
And I just couldn't believe that they have a child. I mean, how could they? You know?
maybe we should stop looking at our politicians like they're our favorite aunts and uncles who have my special interests at heart.
Totally.
They're
Totally.
actually
But
just
at
a
the same time,
bunch of assholes.
at the same time, you cannot expect people to think like that. Obviously, it would be perfect. It's idealistic. It's idealistic. It's insane,
Yeah,
perfect. How would it be? But people choose not to.
that's the thing. It's not even a.
People
It's a
choose
choice. Yeah,
to believe something that a crazy conspiracy theory is telling them because they sound right.
yeah, yeah.
There's a guy. There's a guy that he's Venezuelan and he's pro Trump and he has a lot of followers on Instagram. He was a peer to his journalist, if I'm not mistaken. He was also a character, and he started. I don't know how or why, but he started involving Trump with religion as well.
Oh no.
But he's not praising him. It's
Yeah,
just that he is the good side of the story, and Democrats, with this whole deep state, Pizzagate type of
that's
thing,
crazy.
they
That's
are
crazy.
Satanists,
Yeah,
and they,
that's Q.
want
That's
people
a Q movement.
kind of like that.
Yeah,
And so it's like, no, wait, what?
just
But
no.
at the same time, you read the comments or you read the answers to whatever tweet that guy
Yeah.
says. It's like, yes, let's all join forces together in a trail chain so Trump wins the election. It's like,
Yeah.
Dude, do you think praying would change numbers? Do you think praying would do? I mean,
Did I
what?
did I tell you about on Twitter? I met the group who are pro North Korea, and they're so convinced that North Korea is just full of playgrounds and free ice cream.
Right.
That's all that happens in North Korea is you go to the free ice cream place, and then you take your ice cream to the like Wonderland, and you spend your day there.
Obviously.
They've just mastered communism so well that no one even has to work anymore or farm or anything. Yeah, it's it was the craziest thing I've ever heard anybody say out loud. It was the craziest, like fiction or reality or any other thing. That's the
Well,
craziest thing.
the people like there are people in North America, people in states that believe that Chavez did a good thing,
That what?
and there's the Chavez did a good thing.
Okay, yeah.
There
Oh,
are people that say like, yes. I mean, I don't know why are you outside of Venezuela if Venezuela is such a great place.
that's that's the question. Yeah, why do we need more socialism in the States? You can go visit anywhere you want and see what it's like yourself. You can check that out.
So it's like following people to the point that you can just block everything that they're telling. And
Yeah.
it's like people like sit down and start answering and start retweeting and tweeting about, hey man, no, you're wrong. I mean, I left there because I was almost killed with a gun to my forehead because they
That's a
were
strong
trying to get
case.
my they were trying to get my phone.
Yeah.
And it was 6 p.m. and I was having a hamburger in the corner of my street.
Oh my God.
I mean, do you really think that it just left because I don't think that these government work,
You just like to travel.
or because
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just wanted to see the world? I mean, come on. But at the same time, they choose to believe it.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah, and you can hear him say it often. When people say, I choose to believe, or I have to believe this, what they're saying is, I don't actually believe it. I can't. It's unbelievable, but I have to believe it, or I want to. Yeah.
I was like, I don't care if this is good or bad. I don't care if this is true or false. But this is what, I don't know, my idol is saying. So, or this
No,
is a guy that I really like. So I'm just gonna follow that.
idol's the right word for it, for sure. Yeah. And people
So
get anti-idols as well, I think.
totally,
Yeah.
totally, Trump and Chavez are anti-idol.
Yeah. Nothing he does is good.
So everything, or not nothing, everything related to them,
Yeah.
it is a synonym of negative.
Yeah, it needs to be cleansed. Yeah.
Exactly. He's such well. That is a great example. People are talking about death penalty, and they're talking about killing on a like concentration camps, and something similar to what the Nazis are
Yeah.
really famous for,
Yeah.
just because they represented something.
Yeah.
I mean, I cannot talk about this without mentioning some some girl. Yeah, she's a mother of three. She used to work with in the academy that I learned everything that I learned
Yeah.
English. She was the secretary over there, and she was very pro child. She was very, 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 very. Well, she still is actually, but it's because she was very, 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 very poor growing
Yeah.
up. And when she started like being a young adult, more or less my age, like 25, a little earlier, she started getting involved in politics, but not being like active
Yeah.
political, but like getting into the movement of benefits and the whole thing.
Okay.
She had a house, she had a job, she
Yeah.
could give education to her children.
That'd be a really
She
big
could do a
deal,
lot of
man.
things.
That's a big
It
change.
was a huge, huge, huge thing.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, you can understand how someone that has physical proof of what good government was
Yeah.
could say nowadays, well, yeah, this is shitty, but this is my government, so I'm going to stay here.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
maybe they don't see the whole picture. Maybe they don't see that they were just moved by, it was all manipulative. So people see that it's a great uh, government, where in reality it was just taking advantage of people. But maybe it's because she doesn't care. Maybe, you know what? I got my car, I got my house, I got my children educated.
Yeah. She probably was at a point in her life at some point where she didn't think that'd ever be possible. Like, if you come from extreme poverty,
Yeah,
she's
she told me
living
she
the dream.
told she told me that she doesn't eat potatoes in any form,
No kidding.
because growing up that is the only thing that she could eat.
Yeah, yeah, that's what yeah.
And it's like, what?
So I,
But don't you grow up out of it? No, no, no. I mean, it's a psychological thing.
if if I'm served Mr. Noodle after my university days, I'll actually start retching. Ugh. I can't help it. Because it was all I ate, dude, for like 3 months. It was all I ate.
For real,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
for real. So it is a point that you do have. The mind is it's a powerful thing.
Yeah,
It's a
fucking
powerful,
right it is.
powerful thing.
It really is.
Someone has even the slightest control of it, then they can move you the way they want.
Yeah. It reminds me of this whole conversation of ideological possession is reminding me of an image in my head of, I'll just take this for 1 second. Here's a picture, It
Okay.
doesn't really make a difference. It's a picture of a city. But if you're possessed ideologically, you're looking at the picture like this. You know what I mean? You
Totally.
can't see the image. Your nose is so... You can
No,
only see 2 or 3 things that
and
you like, and you won't see anything else.
and just what you have in front of your eyes, if it's pretty enough,
Yeah,
you won't even be bothered to look other way.
that's right. You'll make sure you don't, probably. Yeah.
Exactly. So you can understand how someone can be so biased, but at the same time, that is a dangerous thing.
Oh my God. It might be the most dangerous thing. Yeah.
Exactly. That is
Yeah.
that is the most dangerous thing. And there's just no way to fight it back. I think people will always be like that.
Yeah.
People will always fall for the guy that thinks in Spanish. I think I've told you this before. In Spanish, we have a saying that says something like, "Every day an idiot goes to the street.
Yeah.
Whoever finds it and keeps it wins."
Yeah. Yeah. So our
You know,
version of that is a fool and his money are quickly parted. The
like
same.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like there's always someone who's going to buy your idea.
Yeah.
That's why pyramid schemes are still happening after so many years of proof
So
after proof after proof that they don't work.
I think that's why we're still voting for representatives. Like, we haven't had it work yet. It's 100 years in, you know?
But this year is going to be different.
It's going to be different this year. That's right. We're finally
This
going to
is
get it.
going. This is my year because my guy is running
That's
for
right.
office.
And it's never like, we're here and I'm going to improve it this much. It's always like, we're here and it's going to be perfect when he gets in. It's going to be perfect. It just needs me
It
to vote
reminds
for
me.
him.
It reminds me of what happened in Argentina. In Argentina, after they went through a government like ours, like in Venezuela, and they finally got rid of it.
Yeah.
That was in 2006, if I'm not mistaken, 2014.
Was that when their inflation skyrocketed right after? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Obviously, the guy didn't do like the greatest of jobs, but hey, it was a step.
Yeah.
It was something closer.
Yeah.
No, 4 years later, they vote him out and they put one
The
from
opposite
the
back
previous
in.
party, from the no, not only the opposite, because maybe someone with different ideas would be different.
Yeah.
They literally went back to the same party that wrecked
Yeah.
the whole country again.
No. Yeah.
And it's like, and I think the guy that is now president, that is that guy, uh, he was endorsed by the ex-president before Macri.
Of course. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Of
So it's
course.
like
So my contact in
2 plus 2 equals
Bolivia,
2 plus 2.
my contact in Bolivia told me that Morales was just voted back in again. Like,
Not Morales, but it's happening again.
What
It's
the
happening
hell?
exactly the same thing as Argentina. It's happening again in Bolivia.
and
It's
this,
like Morales is the wreck, the one of the worst things that could ever happen to Bolivia.
yeah,
He was voted out.
yeah,
Oh my God, he was
voted out. He was
Good.
arrested out. He's not allowed back in the country.
Well,
There's a
that's right.
warrant for his arrest.
That's right.
He can't step foot there.
That's right. But then, after the whole, okay, let's start from scratch.
Yeah.
Nah, you know what? Nah.
So
Let's just vote him in again.
I got some really good interviews with this guy from Bolivia, and
Oh, nice.
I don't know if he's still free or not. I contacted him again in the last few months. I'm serious, man.
Oh my God.
I don't know what to do about this. I contacted him a bunch of times, and he finally responded back. And I'm certain it was him at first, because he's like, "Hey, you found my channel and stuff." He's like, "Morales got back into government." I'm like, "That's crazy. We got to talk." This is a guy who works the hospitality industry in a country as poor as Bolivia during COVID. So, like, no work anywhere.
All odds.
Told him I'd send him like $20, $50 or something to help out for an interview, Never responded back. I pushed him twice more. He said, "Please don't put any of my videos back up. I might get in trouble with the government." Now, the important thing is to mention that he's an American Bolivian. I hope this isn't... There's got to be a bunch of American Bolivians, right? I'm not like calling him out.
Probably.
I'm probably going to call him out.
Nah.
It's
He might have already a bad consequence.
It's a really good story. So...
No, yes, but I mean, at the time that you'll be airing this, he probably have had, I don't know, his balls or his tongue cut out.
Hey! No,
Come on. Let's be real.
Come on. How many tongues do you need?
Let's be real.
Yeah.
Come on.
So, I'm interviewing him. The guy's from the States. He's a trained nurse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is why he was such a good interview and tour guide, because he spoke American English fluently, but could also speak Spanish fluently as well. So he's in Bolivia, and they start doing protests against Evo Morales for the last one, when he really fucked up with the ballots and everything, like the cars full of ballots and the houses full of ballots. Evo Morales is set to win with 130% of all the votes, even if nobody voted. Like, if 0% of the country voted, he was still going to get 130,
130, that's cool.
So he rolls. Kind of like a Biden election. I'm just joking. So
Come on.
the joke is that Biden got Tupac and Biggie Smalls to make amends and vote for him. They shot each other in the 80s and died. Two hip-hop guys. It doesn't matter. So the story with this guy from Bolivia is he goes out protesting against Evo Morales with some guys who have disabilities, because he's a nurse, and I guess the stipend for disability in Bolivia is like $150 all year. You get one $100 check all year to help with like wheelchair access and pills, medication, whatever equipment you might need, living costs. It's nothing. So he goes out with some guys who have disabilities, some disabled people, and goes out to the streets, and he's trying to protest, like, Evo Morales needs to pay attention to these people as well as these people and these people, right? Like, it's not just for the poor people or the farmers. We also
exactly.
these guys,
It's not give me, give them.
That's right, yeah. They pinpointed him. I think it was the Minister of Justice or something. 3 days later after the protest, goes on television and says, "This guy started all the protests." And it's the guy, my buddy. It's the guy I'm interviewing. So they have him go in every Monday at 6 o'clock in the morning for like It was supposed to be for 2 months, ended up being for a year and a half. He has to do fingerprints, and if his fingerprints are anywhere there was damage done, he's arrested for causing a protest, right? And this
Oh
goes
my
on for
god.
like a year past when it was supposed to, and his lawyers are like, "You're breaking your own Evo Morales' laws. Like, you have to drop this at this point, or you're going to make yourself start looking to look bad, you know?" So finally they drop it, and 2 or 3 months later, I'm interviewing him about this. I had no idea this was happening in the background. He's telling me the story. I'm like, holy shit! He tells me that the minister who was trying to get him arrested ends up in La Paz jail 2 days before I'm doing the interview.
Whoa.
La Paz jail. Have you heard of this place? It's the jail
No.
cell with one guard at the door. There's nobody working inside but criminals. Criminals charge rent. If you get sent into jail, it's you and the other inmates. There's nobody else there. People go
Nice.
missing like crazy. They export cocaine from there. They charge rent. It's some
Obviously.
crazy scene. So the minister gets sent in there. And now Morales is back in government, and
And he took him
like
out.
Contact doesn't want money all of a sudden or to talk about anything, and has disappeared off the map completely.
Ah. Nah, that guy's dead. That guy's dead. I mean,
You think so? Look, I know I'm a
I don't
fucking
know.
sweet summer child Canadian here, and you're the South American, so like,
No, the thing is, like, if he got involved and he got pinpointed,
yeah,
that is a very, very serious thing.
they
Because
didn't like him at all. Like the government,
exactly, you know, and I think that would happen in every single country.
not even
No
South
matter
American. Yeah,
not even, not only South America, not even like a dictatorship or not even like a communist regime or anything. If the government pinpoints you unfairly, because obviously, come
yeah,
on, there are people that do deserve it.
yeah.
But if it's unfair because you started a riot or because you started like doing something, it doesn't it doesn't bring anything good. I mean, it's not that they're
No,
going
I
to
know.
chase you to give you cupcakes,
That's not the
but
Bolivian way, sir. That's no,
exactly.
it's not.
But that is. But on the other hand, that is not your fault. That is like
No, I haven't posted anything yet.
not
I haven't
his
put the
fault
videos up.
either.
No, it's just life. If you have to put a fault, it'd be on the minister who like did the thing illegally in the first
Exactly,
place and
exactly. It's like the government fault.
he had to
Hey,
clean
I'm
up his
gonna turn
ego.
on the lights. I'm gonna turn on the lights real
Sure.
quick. Sorry about that.
Oh, it affected the quality too. You're
Yeah,
you were
yeah.
starting
It's the yellow thing.
you're starting to blur in with the background a little bit. When you
Yeah,
moved,
exactly. I was like,
it was neat. Yeah, yeah.
um, what? What was it? Yeah. So yeah, that guy probably in a very bad place.
He hasn't posted anything on his YouTube channel for 3 months. He was doing it like every 2 or 3 days, and then just nothing.
And what was the channel about? Well, don't tell me. Maybe you're writing him out again.
Yeah, it was
It's heavy.
lifestyle updates. Just what I'm doing today.
Yeah.
Here's my family. You know.
Ah. Yeah, but that's. I mean, it is very dangerous. There is another thing. I mean, why do people want to do active things in a field that is so dangerous?
Yeah.
People want to make a change, and people are willing to lose everything, their lives, parts of their body.
That's really
I mean,
that's the question. So that's
why?
what Carl Jung wanted to know, and Jordan Peterson. Every psychologist after World War II wanted to know, how could someone do something so completely against their best interests? You know, nothing about.
I mean, because maybe the thing is like after World War II, it's weird because people in the army, they are taught to be in a certain way.
Yeah,
They are, they breathe and they live for patriotism. But a regular common guy that's just fighting for disabled people, come on.
it's kind of what our whole conversation's been about in a way. in a way, an idea can possess you and it can become like an addiction, like we were saying before. And it's just the one thing you think. So when life comes up and says, this is a stage to put this idea on, you're just, well, I have to go out and
You
do
go
this. I'm
for
not even
it.
thinking myself, you know?
I think so.
And this is the first time, this conversation here we're having right now is the first time I saw that that could be at least aimed altruistically. It always feels like it's altruistically. Like when I need my next heroin hit, I feel like it's a good
Mm-hmm.
thing, you know, but it's obviously
Mm-hmm.
not. I think in this case he was being altruistic. He was doing something for some other group, risking himself. I don't think he saw the risk that's that high. Like there was a city full of there was millions of other people in that city that
Yeah,
day.
but at the same time, when does it stop being altruistic?
Yeah.
Because for the time that you're willing to risk, I mean, yes,
No. Yeah.
being good and being kind, okay, good. But the same thing about rights. If your right touches me, then that is not a right anymore.
Yeah. No,
Maybe
I
I
hear
can
you.
help you out, James. Maybe I don't know, we can record as many conversations as you want, but once these conversations start to affect me personally,
Negatively. Yeah. Yeah.
negatively,
Yeah.
then I have to say, you know what, James, this is it for me.
Oh, it makes total sense. Yeah.
What makes a person say, no, you know what, now your problem is my problem and I'm going to go for it, even if I die?
Yeah. Something about the same thing of the soldier jumping on the grenade for the rest of the soldiers. I think there's something in there, some kind of overlap.
But again, soldiers are kind of like a different breed because they are
Yeah.
taught that way,
Yeah.
or
I see what
at
you're
least
saying.
I think that.
There's got to be some kind of civic equivalent of like I've done it poorly. I was working with a girl I had a crush on, and we were fooling around and sleeping together and stuff. And I've been working there for 6 months longer and had fucking like 7 years more experience, and she couldn't do the board properly, so it doesn't matter. She couldn't do certain things that were basic. Really, if anybody's watching as a cook, you're supposed to put the bills up in order of when they come in by time. She was doing it in order of items. So if something had 4 potatoes, she put all the potatoes together. But if something
Right?
came up 20 minutes earlier, it's on the far end of things. It gets made last. You know, she's like, "What are you doing?" But the sous chef position was going to be hired for, and the kitchen manager was like, "It'd be nice to have a girl do it," and I'm like, "Sure." And I was doing in a way like a microcosm version of like I'm sacrificing of myself so that this, she could get the benefits, even though I'm better at it. At the time, she's better now. She's way better now. Like she's way better now. But at the time, I was better at than she is. She was. I fucked up less, and I did better, and I've been there longer. So like, I should have gotten it. I don't know. That was kind of like a sitting on a grenade at a civic level. That was
Exactly. I mean,
stupid.
you can sacrifice yourself, but at the same time, there's no risk. I mean, yeah, you can lose your job. Yes,
Yeah,
I don't know.
and all of those things happened too. All of the.
but there's no, but there's no risk. I mean, that much.
I wasn't going to get
Why?
imprisoned for wrongful.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Or attempted against your life.
yeah,
Or at a point that you said, you know what, it's not safe for me anymore.
yeah. Also, it could have been, I guess, if life was different and the economy had dropped at the same time and I couldn't find a job again and ended up becoming homeless. It's like none of that happened. It took me 2 weeks, probably less. But it might have
That
been.
is that is another that is another thing. Maybe we're a little bit exaggerating, or the way that I see it. Maybe it's just like the government overreacted about something.
I think that's the case. Like, there was an ego in place that made a case. The minister said, "This is the guy," and it was so clearly not. It put an egg on his face and got him in jail. And then once he got out again, he's like, "Fuck this guy." He's an ant, or
Also,
like I'm just gonna get my.
exactly.
I'm gonna
Or
make up my difference.
or you know what? He was just the wrong person at the wrong time.
Yeah,
Maybe they just wanted to, like control population in a way that no insurrection is evil, and this guy happened to be in the middle of a riot, and let's take him, you know, as a guinea pig.
That's so fucked up.
But at the same time, it's like that. I mean, how can you just
It's
ignore?
it's a funny position. The Venezuelan is like, that's too big a risk, and the Canadian's like, go for it. You know.
Yeah.
I bet in 2 years I'll be the same. Like, there's no way you should do that. You know,
Uh-huh.
the way Canada's
Mm-hmm.
going. Yeah,
Just wait, my friend. Just wait.
yeah. That's probably speaks volumes right there. Is that I'm entitled enough that I can think of it as not a worthy risk.
Everything has to be so cautious, or I don't know, maybe it's the immigrant life
Yeah,
that I cannot get in trouble. I cannot do this. I shouldn't mess with these people. I shouldn't mess with those people. I shouldn't. I shouldn't touch. I shouldn't look. I shouldn't. I didn't see. I did. I don't know.
I'm always
You
fucking
know
with everything.
exactly. Like yes, yes. Take my money. Yes, yes. I vote for you. Yes,
Yeah.
no. I mean, I don't know what to say. But now it's so I don't know. Everything, every little decision
Big
has to
consequence.
go
Yeah.
has or not big consequence. You have to exaggerate everything. You have to see the whole picture right away because you never know what's going to be.
Fucking Christ.
It's
2021,
insane.
man. It's exciting.
Yeah, let's
I thought
go. Oh,
2020 was the year, and 2021 we could just relax and get back to it, and it's
now that I think of it, I don't know what people. I don't know why people thought that was going to be like that. It's
it's pretty
suddenly
dumb.
like as if January 1st is just a switch. Well,
Yeah,
okay, guys, let's do it again.
yeah.
That's it.
Let's try it again.
Let's try it again. No,
No.
no. Now we're being proven that it is not remotely how you thought it's going to roll out.
Yeah. I should be used to that by now.
We all should.
Yeah.
We all should. But then we're still melting down for being locked down. We're still, feeling bad for drinking a glass of wine or a shot of vodka at 10 a.m. on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
We shouldn't.
That sounded like an
At this
admission right
time,
there, Angel.
yeah, you'll be surprised. No, no, no. Hey,
Listen,
man, I need to
we should
have some dinner now.
cut this out and this conversation. I've been holding in. I have to go to the washroom. It's been 30 minutes. I'm going to pee myself.
I'm hungry as hell.